Welcome to episode 3 on my journey to become a TechnoWizard, aka product designer. Today, I got for you our phase 2 prototype. And keep it short again. It's a weekend, take it easy. And here we go. So in phase 2, my group had to develop a way for the project brief was essentially to connect or strengthen the relationship between the community and the library. All right, so it was an interesting prompt because none of us really had experiences using libraries, at least not public libraries. That's like outside of school. Um, so at first we were all kind of going into this, we're like, libraries, what, why? I mean, me, libraries are pretty important to me because I really liked reading, but finding those books and everything like that was just, it's just part of high school. But when I started to research into this kind of field, I learned a lot about, what libraries do for the community. It was very interesting to see that a lot of people really depend on the library for access to certain resources, to get jobs and everything like that. And part of the project brief was specifically geared toward career changers or people who are trying to make some type of career shift and needs to go to the library to gain that. All right. So once again, we did research, we did interviews, we also did subject matter expert interviews, so we interviewed librarians as well as actual patrons. So we learned a lot from all of that, and this is what we came up with. So call it Dewey, or Dewey Decimal System. Essentially, you can brief aside. So it was pretty interesting because a lot of library websites, unfortunately, had a very terrible design. Like a lot of their websites are really terribly designed, and a lot of the librarians knew that. So they gave us a whole laundry list of things that should be changed or should be done more efficiently and stuff like that. Um, so this was designed to kind of make it easy for people to find the resources that they need in the library. Because what's interesting to note is that libraries have a lot more resources than just books. They have tons and tons of career services. Um, also, I wanted to keep this short, but this is good to know to really understand this design. Is that we thought we were going to design a career website, like a career training website, right? Because when the prompt kind of got us initially thinking about, okay, we would have to come up with some type of way to teach people how to, maybe do their resume or, find jobs, how to do interviews, how to, you know, um, get better skills and stuff like that. But when we did the research, we found that there were tons and tons of really, really good resources already available. The only problem was that a lot of these resources were extremely hard to find. So a lot of libraries had varying types of like some of them had access to different to some of these resources while others didn't because of funding, because of how many people use those resources and stuff like that. And it was frustrating for the librarians because they felt like it was kind of they had no reliable way for them to show all the patrons exactly what they had to offer. And it was frustrating for patrons because they didn't know what the library had to offer. So they would tell us, "Oh, I wish we had this, I wish we had that." But the library actually did have that. Unfortunately, it was just too hard to find. So we created this entire website based on that problem, right? Based on that research, based on those actual pain points that we found from actually talking to people. So yeah, this is how we came up with Dewey. So we found, we have skills training, mentorship, local events, tech books. So these are all things that the library really wanted. Multiple libraries we interviewed librarians from multiple libraries across the East Coast, and they all kind of had much of these types of resources where you go on their website, they had skills training, but it was like in some off of the way area. So we put it front, right, and center, very easy to see. Okay, wow, I can do this at this library, all right? Um, So the first thing, I mean, you can easily go to any of here, but our flow kind of starts with picking your own library. In a realistic scenario, we would we would match these based on your location data, so that we can, um, match these the resources located in each of these cards to, you know, what's actually relevant for you. But for now, we can't really do that, so we just have this here. So you can put in your, address or your zip code, and you can put in your library. And once you do that, it says, okay, you're at the Fulton Library, and all these resources are now pertaining to that specific library. um and what was also cool about this journey is that I got a chance to use Principal, which is a really cool prototyping tool. It's sort of frustrating because it wasn't as intuitive as I would have liked or I would have thought. Like, I had this huge problem for like a while of just trying to get tabs working because of the way, they do their tabs or they do their animations and stuff like that. And like just this factor, I couldn't get it to work. My computer is freezing. Oh, but yeah, just like going side to side, I couldn't get to work very well because, it was using like the highlight. I, I'll go over it later when I eventually, I talk about Principal. That's a whole other video because again, I wanted to keep this short. But let's come on, computer, work with me, baby. Sound like who's that from? Chris Tucker? I don't know. And I am frozen. I don't know. I guess I'll keep talking. So, okay, there we go. So yeah, I have yeah, little animations here, and so yeah, you can go to a spot here, and it uses very consistent kind of design to keep it simple for people. This is the only one that works. So you goes there. It tells you, you're going to lynda.com, gives you your library card information if you forgot it, and then you can go there. It'll pull it up for you. Um, so that's the career development side. We did kind of kept this part short because this one was really about making it clear and simple, right? Like all these tools are available to you, all these resources are available. We just had to make it obvious. And we had this fun little bookmark trail. This is an idea I had for a micro interaction where, when people are going through the site, it'll animate, so you have like a little worm come out, drop breadcrumbs as it goes from one to the other, and then, it'll teleport away or something like that. And that's just to keep it, lively a little bit because, a lot of our customers were like, oh, it's a little boring sometimes, or, the design of these sites, is kind of cut and dry. So we want to add a little fun into it. And that's what that will eventually be. But for now, it's just an interesting breadcrumb, a way to, go back to the other pages that you've been to. Still a standard breadcrumb, but it's a little bit more interesting. At mentorship, we didn't really do much with that one. Local events. So one of my group mates was in charge of the events process. So you get to choose, this is a really cool way to see what is going on in your library, which is another factor that we didn't realize was so popular, is that people go to a library for classes, for, not just learning like a specific skill. Like, yes, they do have resume workshops and other stuff like that, but also like for people, older people, whatever, or even like younger people who are too busy, who only ever use phones, may not be familiar with Microsoft Suite, and so they have classes for that. But they also have like, a town library, which is like a meeting, like in this example is one-on-one appointments, so they can talk to a librarian or a career coach, to help them throughout their journey. And they also would have like things like even like small business, meetings, or, learning how to finance your home and all this other stuff. So it was very interesting about that. So once you do that, you know, take it to your event process. You can go to that. It's very simple event process. Put in the form information, and boom, bam, you're done. So let me go back to that actually. So yeah, a lot of these things like that, these small touches that you think is pretty standard, are unfortunately not very much seen in the current platforms. So we want to, kind of bring all of that here. Another one, community board. We didn't really build this out too much, but did have the forums. Um, so they can go on their website, on the library website, and ask people, what's going on. It could be just the library, or it could be just the entire Dewey community in general. So that would make it easy for people to, communicate and see, you know, get help. So thought that was pretty nice. Local events. So having, these big um, nav bars was very interesting as well because when we were in our research, we found that a lot of people like to see, everything they had available to them. Like they didn't, if you kind of hid stuff away and try to make things super streamlined and only show like the key things, like these top ones, then they would miss out on a lot of other stuff because people just didn't really know how to search the entire website for something, and they shouldn't. They shouldn't have to search the entire website for what they want to look for. And so we made the decision to choose to put all of that information in the nav bar. It is a lot, but it is what our customers and what our what the patrons and what the librarians wanted. So we thought it was warranted. Uh, and then my section was the oh, it's freezing again. I don't know why it's doing that. My section was the technical books process. So this one makes it easy to find like the books that you want. Another very interesting factor was that they did not have an easy way to find books, all right, for their career path, which you think it would be something the library is really good at, but unfortunately because a lot of librarians they kind of a lot of public librarians aren't really paid very well. They kind of get a funding amount usually in the beginning of the year, and they have to kind of use that throughout the entire year to kind of figure out what's the most important things to focus on. And redoing their website is usually not a high a high priority for a lot of librarians. Now, granted, that is changing more and more nowadays. One of the big inspirations we got from this was from I think it was the Pennsylvania library system. So they put almost all their public libraries in one single platform. So it doesn't matter, what county you're in or whatever. You don't have to be limited to just that specific county's library system. You can research anything any library had in that entire state, and so you can get a book transferred from one library to another, you know, um, or anything like that. And so we thought that was super cool. And it was unfortunate that a lot of other states and counties didn't have that. So we wanted to do that on this platform here. And it's still loading. Okay, I'm gonna see if I can close down something, maybe. Okay, let me close some stuff. I have to close down principal. Why you do this to me? See, that means I want to edit this whole thing out. I don't like to edit. All right, y'all, just gonna have to pause this. Hey, now my Zoom thing's not popping up. Oh my gosh. Okay, are we back? I think we're back for now. Nope, never mind. Okay, there we go. So yeah, and the coding in the technical book section is easy to see, what books you have available at that library. So it shows you some popular books that you can go straight directly to, gives you information about each of these industries. And then when you go there, it shows you the books available, at that library. You can choose which languages you want to know. So it'll be even more than this, far more than this. And you'll be able to scroll down. Fortunately, it's not working here, but below, just hit view more to see more books. And then um, it's very interesting again that this is not really commonly seen on library platforms, library websites, but I did get this inspired from Barnes and Noble, Nook, their Nook, library. That was pretty nice. So I got a lot of that from. And then you have information about the book. So we found that this was pretty a big thing that people liked as well, is the ability to see, how many other people read it, what they learned from it. Um, and if you wanted to buy the book outright instead of, getting it from the library when you would have to eventually return it, you can do that too. It will show you, how much it costs and stuff like that. Um, so yeah, if the book wasn't available at the library, you'll be able to transfer it from another one. If they had an ebook available, you can download that, or you can just go ahead and put your library card in and request to reserve that book from the library. And once you basically put that information in, the library will get it, and then you would go pick it up at the library. So again, really simple feature, but something that unfortunately we did not see on a lot of websites for libraries. And of course, you can search things, and that brings you anything, makes it easy to see what's the what. Why is it not working? Oh my gosh. We also had our chat bot. I was pretty proud about this. I was playing around with messaging bots and trying to make it interesting in terms of the animation style. So this was pretty fun to do as well. So you can ask Dewey itself, which is our original idea for the website, was going to be just like a bot who kind of walked you through the entire process. But it's very difficult to make a really good bot, especially for like design. And so it was also difficult for people to understand the limitations of a bot. So we didn't really want to make this the key feature, but it is something that people can do. So they can talk to the bot or talk directly to a librarian. But yeah, it was I like these animations there. It was just fun to program, not program, but make all those animations in principle. And yeah, that's pretty much most of the app there. We also had the accounts page, so you had your settings and all that, so you could tell, what kind of um, things you got going on here. If you want to change anything, you just tap or click on it or select it, whatever, and you'll be able to, edit those portions. And same thing for the settings. We had, we even put some accessibility stuff. That was a big portion of our kind of learning about um, good design, and that was always including really good accessibility, and kind of put some redundancy into it too, because all at the bottom here is also here, so if you didn't know that you had accessibility options, you will also be able to find that, that we included that there. So yeah, that is I think everything. So clearly, there's a lot more we would do if we were to continue this. But it was really fun just going through this exercise, this project. This is what I really appreciate about this type of learning style, is that you can you learn through doing. And I've always been a textbook person. Like, I love reading, but it's not really much better than learning through actually doing. You have something to show what you did. You can talk about, your thought process as you were doing it, insights and all that stuff. So it was a really cool kind of process. So yeah, thanks again for watching, and hope it isn't too long. I guess I'm unfortunately gonna have to edit this, that long ass, excuse me, that long part. Um, but it is what it is. Thanks. Bye bye. Boop.